It's time! Thursday night! Final Fantasy Spring Tournament 2020. Monte Chaos's Casino. Round 2 of the Swiss. And my name is Dang Wu, broadcasting with the one, the only, the great Woat. Woat, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing pretty well. I am full of dinner. I have spent most of the day on a island in the southern hemisphere, and I am here and ready to commentate this race and then go back to my island.
I'm just glad you were able to show. You had me worried there, but I understand. I was basically eating lots of food just before this also.
Look, have you ever flown Dodo Airlines? I mean, they're great guys, don't get me wrong, but sometimes you do remember that they're flightless birds.
That is fair. But I guess we should probably get to our main headlines here. The runners themselves. On the right-hand side, we have Lifereboot, one of our newer runners. A lot of potential, obviously 0-1 at this moment, but I don't think it really shows how much talent he has. And then on the left is the Caront, which is one of our newer runners also, but one that you have a little more information about.
Yeah, I calmed his race last week, and let me tell you, that 0-1 is a little bit deceptive. He took on, I believe, Sonny Wrath was the race. There's been a lot of races, so my memory's not 100% on that, but I think it was Sonny. And he actually had his opponent dead to rights for a good chunk of the race. His downfall was just he kind of sort of forgot Ordeals was an incentive location. A mistake he is probably never going to make again in his entire Final Fantasy Randomizer career. But what I like is that the runners are running two fairly similar but distinct parties. Caront rolling with the Fighter Rainbow, while Lifereboot is going for the Fighter Thief Red Mage Black Mage, also known as the all blasty, all runny, can actually take a punch to the face team.
Yeah,
no one actually calls it that.
No, I mean, that's very true. There's two very differences. One's a little bit safer. One offers that run chance with the Thief. Reboot will probably end up danging off that Thief after Marsh or Earth if he doesn't really Earth dive. On the left-hand side, he's going to rely upon those mages to get through it. White Mage, if he ends up keeping it up, is going to be the kind of time saver by using all that heal magic. So it's one of those interesting things, but for anybody that's out there, this is round 2 of the Swiss, which means Earth is incentive. So if you watched last week's round, that was the Sea Shrine. Now it has been switched over to the Earth incentive. So Earth is very dangerous. I'm going to release the runners and we're going to talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah. Now, it's one of those things like, this is actually something I believe we were talking about in the Discord earlier today. Just which week is the most dangerous. And I do think that there is a strong case for Earth being the most dangerous incentive location, because that chest is accessible as soon as you have the canal, which means in terms of what can be there, basically all of your progression. Like, with something like sea or air, where that incentive chest is behind 1 or 2 key items, it's not as bad, but yeah. Earth can very easily turn into a problem, especially because you'll probably be at fairly low levels when you get there. But that Ice 3 is less of a problem, as is that Life 2 and that Heal 3.
Alright, so based off of what we're seeing right now here, I have to say advantage goes to Life Reboot. Life 2 is available to the Red Wizard and the Knight. The White
It's
Mage...
available to the Red Mage.
Well, right.
Heal 3 is what's Red Wizard locked, and I mean, that's nice, but that's not. But that Life 2 is big.
Well, exactly, because the White Wizard doesn't have the run chance that the Thief has, so it's kind of dead weight. At the moment. But the flip side to that is, if that tail winds up being one of our loose items in a nasty location, Caront will at least have 2 Life 2 casters on his side if he keeps the White Mage up. So that is something that might factor into his decision making, is just, long-term security. Let me we've seen Ice 3, Brack, level 1. We also found a house in Ordeals right away, so that's not too bad. An early house, especially if it rolls really high or expensive, is very nice to have early. Recharges our spells. Money and a cap, so we get a sweet 1 absorb on our helm armor. Woohoo!
I mean, it's one of those things, you don't complain about finding the cap in vanilla, you're not going to complain about finding the cap here.
I mean, Ice 3, I'm a big fan of. Early, a lot of enemies go down with Ice 3. Obviously, Lit 3 is just as good since not many enemies resist it, but early on, Ice 3 does very well.
Yeah, I mean, even if you resist, even if something resists Ice 3, it's still going to do work.
Whoa. I really like that.
I don't know what these... I don't know what these zombies are doing, aside from being incredibly rude, but, is that a crown and a key pickup that we just saw?
That was a crown and key, and the power of the thief, as you saw there, Lifereboot was able to actually run away from those zombies with that thief, and Caront was not able to and lost 2 of its light warriors and then wiped out.
Yeah. I mean, that's the reason that I personally favor kind of replacing that black mage with a thief instead of replacing the white mage. I like the added security of the extra healing, and especially with the thief fixes on, I find I don't miss the black mage as much. The red mage usually gets enough firepower to deal with anything that I would want to wipe out, and then the thief and the fighter can do mop-up.
So the question here, Will, so we get the key, we get the crown.
Mm-hmm.
If you're Lifereboot, do you go to the dwarves, maybe? Well, now that after I've seen what he just got, probably not, because I don't think you need anything, because we just got a crap ton of money. I mean, we're rich. We got 12,000 inside of 3.5 minutes.
We're rich in money, we are not rich in gear. Like, it's one of those things, I think maybe I hold off on the Dwarf Cave Viz until after I hit Provoca. But I do think that hitting those chests is something I'm going to want to do before I commit to a dungeon.
Yeah.
Because, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah. Sorry, I was agreeing with you, but I was like, you know, if those chests didn't have 12,000, you know, gold or gil worth of money, I would say go to dwarves, be able to purchase anything in Provoca, because you should get money there. You know, instead of having to maybe do a double stop at Provoca because you didn't have enough money. And you know the Elfland spells are going to be expensive. Level 3 and 4 magic are expensive.
Yeah. Okay, so Life is doing something I like. He is using a cabin at that kind of split between going to Matoya or going to Provoca. If he doesn't find anything good at Matoya, he'll just be able to reset out and get it straight to Provoca, and not have to waste the time running back.
Some may call that a veteran move, but I like to do that after Provoca. Ooh, Flame Shield 12 absorb already. Yes, please. That knight is actually pretty defensive already.
Yeah, and the nice thing is you can eventually hand that Flame Shield over to your ninja if you find the tail.
I mean, that is, you know, that is the one good thing about having a ninja is even at low levels, that ninja can get decent absorb once, obviously, or the thief once it's promoted. Ice 2 from the Sahag, so early shipping is going to be rough unless you manipulate away from it.
Yeah. Now, I didn't see if Lifereboot bothered to pick up any of those very cheap gold bracelets. I missed those on the first pass. But Caront, rather than saving his money, opted to go ahead and at least hang one on his knight, or fighter, which I cannot blame him for. That thing is, what, a little better than an iron armor, and a lot better in terms of evade chance?
Yeah, it's the same as armor. It's a lot better evade. For 7,000, I think it's good to pick up early. Especially with the key, you might as well, honestly, so you don't have to come back for it.
I think we're seeing an interesting move out of Caront. He's going to go ahead and pop open these Elfland chests, and I'll be surprised if he doesn't go ahead and visit Astos. He'll probably be a little bit annoyed because if he'd gone to Provoca, he'd have a Quad X to hit Astos with.
Yeah, a Quad X, very good. That early Ribbon and Bane's Sword, I mean, these runners actually are pretty decently set up with a Defense Sword, a Bane Sword. We have level 2 Mute. I think that's actually pretty good with a Cure 3, so...
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm a fan of Life putting the Silver Hammer on the fighter and moving the Rune Sword over to the Red Mage. Or the Thief. Hey, yeah, I moved it to the Thief. So, I'm just not sure I'm a fan of that. At the level he's at, that Thief is really not going to get much mileage, and honestly, you've got 2 Ice 3 casters. Arming the Thief up at the cost of the fighter's ability is not something I'm necessarily a fan of. That being said, that's Cure 4 that's White Mage locked. And Fade as well. I didn't see which slot that was in, but I didn't see it at 1 or 3, so I think both Fade and Cure 4 might be White Mage only. And that might be big for Caront.
Yeah.
Thank you, Darren Dries. Yeah, it was the 4th slot, so...
Zap and Temper at level 4 Black Magic kind of makes it up. I mean, the White Magic with the Fade is good. I mean, it at least gives the White Mage something. So it just means that Caront doesn't have dead weight. The problem is the White Mage has to get to level 8 before it can use the Fade spell.
Yeah, but here's the thing. What else do we have in terms of offensive magic? We have Ice 3, we have Quad X, and I think we have Brack?
We have a Bane
and that's
Sword.
it.
We have a Bane Sword.
Okay, yes, but that doesn't matter in terms of what the Black Mage is doing. Like, yeah, as of right now, the White Mage can't do much with that Fade, but, at this point, that Fade is our best offensive spell in the first 4 levels, and, speaking for myself, I'm always kind of an advocate that, you know, the most important magic is what's in those first 4 levels, just because... at the higher levels, you're not getting as many charges as you would want of most of those spells. So, you know, 5th level, okay, you're probably going to get enough charges for it to be useful. 6 and above, especially in these flags, you're just not getting enough firepower out of those last 3 spell levels for it to be worth, like, considering equivalent to finding those spells in the early slots.
I mean, that's very true. I mean, like I said, it's a good find because Caront's White Mage basically then is useful to get through Marsh, which is important because for Lifereboot, we have the Thief to run. For Caront, we have the White Mage with a high damaging non-elemental spell. So it just kind of evens out this potential Marsh dive that we might have to do.
Well, we still have dwarves to check, and we still have Northwest Castle with both an incentive check and 3 chests. And we still technically have the right side of Temple of Fiends, so I don't know if we're necessarily stuck going to Marsh quite yet. I don't feel like doing the arithmetic in my head, but I think it is roughly a 50-50 chance that the box with the canal is not in Marsh. Assuming, of course, Astos doesn't just hand us a canoe and just make this entire conversation moot.
No, that's actually that is very true. I mean, which is why I think it's kind of weird for Lifereboot to do this, but at the same time, if it turns, okay, Ice 3 against Frost Wolves is a little awkward, but it does enough. I mean, that's one of the awkward things for Lifereboot now is he's kind of gambling that we have to go to Marsh, but if Caront, ends up finding it in Temple of Fiends locked and Lifereboot goes down to Marsh and doesn't find anything, you're kind of out of luck.
Yeah. So, I think... So okay. Lifereboot's party right now, I mean, you have that red mage with life 2, but that is the only safety he has. I don't hate this early grind in his situation, just because levels are the best support he can have right now. Just because that red mage is not going to necessarily be able to provide the kind of healing support that he might want if there's a marsh dive. And he knows he has to probably do an earth dive, too. That's the other thing to take into consideration. Which, that's another benefit that white mage brings on Caront's side, is that white mage is not chewing into his offense. Because the red mage is Ice 3. Yeah, you're getting a second shot of Ice 3, but that's also your life 2 charges on your red mage. So, I don't know. It's still too early to say, but I think the way that Magic's kind of played out in this seed, I'm liking the Rainbow Party right now.
I mean, I think it's a nice, like I said, it doesn't give any one person an overwhelming advantage early because of their party draft, which is nice right now.
Yeah, no, it's good from a viewer perspective, but, like, I feel like I kind of give the edge to Caront right now. I think that white mage is going to wind up doing more work than the thief is, which I, feel weird saying because I'm one of the biggest fans of always bring a thief, but I think in this particular situation where you're comparing, thief to white mage, I think the white mage is the better call.
Now, interesting here by Lifereboot here, as he's been grinding, you and I have been talking, but life is down, the red mage, now the red mage is down, now the knight's down, and he still hasn't stopped. He's still grinding away with these three. So, is he just trying to get levels on the thief and the black mage? Oh, okay, never mind. He resets.
Well, okay. Assuming that what he's trying to do is hang enough levels on the on his party to where he can, survive a trip into Marsh or Earth. If he could have gotten out of that fight with the thief and the black mage up, that would have probably done him some favors. Just because it's more health on the two characters that desperately want health.
So, we got some bad news, Will. Left-hand side, Caront finds mummies, and guess what they have?
Fire 2.
You know where they're gonna be?
I was looking over there, dang.
They're everywhere. Ordeals,
they have poison, too!
Oh, yeah.
Well, they have damage poison. That's stone poison, because that didn't do any damage to the white mage, who has a ribbon on. Caront, why? Okay, well, at least he knows, that's hell.
So, yeah.
That's off.
Those mummies are loaded, and Waterfall could be dangerous. I mean, Waterfall, Ordeals, Ice Cave, Earth, because they show up there in some packs.
Yeah, mummies are probably one of the most common enemies in the entire... Actually, yeah, is there anything more what shows up in more dungeons than mummies do? Because there's not a lot that does, if anything. Because, yeah, they're in Waterfall, they're in Ordeals, they're in Earth. They're in... Well, they don't show up in Marsh, but...
I think Sorcerers might be the next closest.
Well, let's see. Sorcerers are in Ice, and they're in Air.
And Ordeals.
Are they in Ordeals? Yeah, you're right. No, wait. Yeah, they are. Wait.
Yeah, they're there.
Are they? Yep. Okay.
So we're getting our first look at Astos here, which is interesting because we do have Quad X. So Quad X, if you don't know, is a power word. If any enemy that doesn't resist death has 300 health or less, will instantly be killed. So Astos generally does not roll over 300 health and is instantly killed by Quad X, especially at these percentages. So what is considered a tough boss at early levels, even at the mid game outside of spells, can be difficult. But so we get the crystal.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things. Astos loses a lot of his intimidation factor from vanilla, just because he, what's the phrase I'm looking for here? Doesn't have the murder spells that he does when randomized.
I mean,
Like, he's still a problem because he still has generally good stats, as Caront is discovering.
oh yeah, he has very good absorb for where he is at in the game, and he evades very well also.
And his magic defense is immense, like all of the Dark Elf sprites have.
Yeah, yeah, I think
so.
Even with Breck, it's like a 10% chance or something like that. I mean, he's got a pretty high MDef.
Yeah, I think it's something like 180, 160, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'm not Cheesinator, I don't know for sure. That being said, Caront did not pick up Quad X, I can't help but notice. So, I mean, it's not the worst thing, especially if you're not comfortable with, whatchamacallit, estimating how much HP an enemy has. But yeah, Life does find the canal in the free chests in Dwarf, and we have a loose chime in Keylocked.
So, Dwarves holding some nice progression there. The required chime that is loose. We have 2 loose in this flag set, and we get the, I guess, half loose. We call that the canal because it's not really an incentive, but it's kind of important. So, the Caront actually does the Marsh Dive, who didn't grind. I mean, you and I both would have thought that Lifereboot would have been the first one in a marsh, but the Caront's going.
Yeah, and he might change his mind having seen, is he trying to burn off an encounter before hopping on the boat?
He might have.
Yeah. He may have been thinking of a marsh play, but we'll see if he sticks with that plan now that he has that canal.
I mean, if I'm him, I'm not doing it. I mean, which is weird because I'm all about, scums with Marsh.
Cremate.
Or, I mean, scums with Marsh. Scums with Cremate, so yeah, get me out of Marsh ASAP.
Yeah, unrunnable scums with Cremate. Let's be clear on this. And it looks like they are fresh on the encounter table, too.
Hashtag Never Marsh is a go.
Now, fortunately, he's got 3 blasters, so... Well, 2.5. I don't think the white mage quite has the ability to unleash the firepower yet, but...
Oh, well, we didn't even talk about it. It's the best spell in the game! Level 3 had Cake! Whoa, this is the best spell in the game!
Yeah, I know. I didn't actually see the level 3 black magic. I kind of assumed that you would have noticed.
No, I was too busy doing other things. I don't know what I was doing,
Yeah.
but other things.
Yeah, so don't get on to me about not noticing Cake.
Well, I mean, you didn't talk about it, so I thought maybe, I don't know.
No, I just literally was not looking when Caront checked the black magic.
Here I thought you were trying to downplay the old Cake spell again. Wall is available, though. That's always useful.
And Invis, too.
Yeah, but that's White Mage, so that's actually... White Mage actually is very useful there. White Mage locked Invis 2, Cure 4, and
Caront,
Fade.
buddy, please don't keep trying this. Those scum, they are unhealthy. This is an unwholesome place. Please stop trying to fight through the scums.
I mean, it's one of those weird things, too, because you're kind of trained to go into Marsh with these flags. So I understand why he went there, but he just left too many chests. Although Black Shirt find right now is quite helpful. Is it worth the time, though? I don't know.
Well, okay, he's going ahead and tossing it to his fighter, which I don't necessarily dislike. You're essentially, at this point, he is now basically a walking weapons platform, bristling with firepower. And all of that firepower is generally really, really cold. Which, is it still firepower then?
You can name whatever you want.
I'm just saying, maybe it's Cryo power. Or cryo power.
Oh, I like it. I like it.
But yeah. So he at least gets his checks on the top side of Marsh. But, we'll see if he goes ahead and punches his way to the bottom.
So,
because he may luck out, and there might be something good down here that Life will not see, because presumably Life will see those scum and decide, no, this isn't worth it. Nothing could be worth it. And to answer the question, chat, yeah, an unincentivized incentive location is just another box at that point. And that includes NPCs. So if you don't incentivize, say, main quest NPCs, then the princess will probably just hand you a potion and call it a day. What were you gonna say though, Dang?
Oh, I was gonna say it's interesting. I mean, I don't want to keep nagging at this point though, but I'm hoping that the Caront looks at this and realizes, I mean, that the play to go into Marsh after Ordeals is a very big gamble in itself, because you still have a key location out there, and it could lead to a canoe, which then leads you into an incentive location. Yeah, Ice Cave sucks, and it's hard, but, you know, that gives you the Crescent and Ice Cave and Volcano, which, you know, is a lot better option than diving Marsh. So, I think if you look back at this...
Dang.
Yeah.
We have not even left the Undersea yet. Why are you talking about Ordeals?
I didn't say Ordeals. You said
You
Ice
did.
Cave.
No, you said... Okay, we don't have a canoe. Why are we talking about Ice Cave?
Well, I'm saying because if he finds it here, if Life... Because of the locate... Because he did Northwest Castle. If this leads to a canoe, now you have 2 more locations you can check instead of going to the Marsh.
Okay, there we go. Now you're actually talking sense again.
Wolf boat. And
Yeah.
it's a cube, so hey, sky, 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 sky.
I hate this kind of a situation, because this is just on the cusp of what I would consider, like, worth going to Sky. Like, the value is almost there, but not quite.
Yeah, I have to admit, I mean, if we wouldn't have found the chime, and I don't know, maybe the king gave us the chime or something like that, and we hadn't found a loose, possibly. But we really don't have many spells to deal with Ice Cave, or I'm sorry, Mirage with our spells right now.
The Fade is almost, like that level 3 Fade is almost enough. And, oh, that's an unrunnable Iron Gold Spike Tile.
Maybe it rolled low, but we have no spell charges, so... oh, Black Shirt. Wow, what a nice crit.
Yeah. Yeah, Caront really hasn't found much down here. Like that Black Shirt that he's already saved is, I think, probably the most value he's going to get out of Marsh, but that's going to be pretty good value long term.
No, he needs to remember his black shirt, though, for sure.
Well, he's going to go ahead and bail on Marsh, which I am okay with.
Oh, another thing.
See, not much for white magic at 5.
Well, we got Nuke at level 5. Lock spell also. So, the only real advantage there for White Wizard was a Ruse spell. Red Wizards can't learn it, so the White Wizard can learn it, which makes the White Wizard a little more tankier.
Yeah. So... Sorry, I'm still thinking about the Sky play. Like...
Okay, so Lifereboot's close. He gets the 12 that Black Mage can use Nuke.
Yeah, twice.
Well, once, but yeah. I mean, that. I'm just saying is he's allowed to at least use it if there's something. Let's say Tyros that are like at the Mirage. You can grind there for a while.
Yeah, you could. It's just...
It's a gamble. It's a big gamble.
Like, it's one of those things, I'm personally kind of an That's the other place mummies are. Sky. I knew I was forgetting something. Yeah, Mirage Tower also has mummies.
Yeah, mummies are everywhere. They never give up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was one of those things I was sitting here, it's just like, I know there's another dungeon that mummies pop up in, and that's where it was, Mirage. So yeah, that's kind of the thing, is, I just don't know if there's enough gas in the tank for that Mirage play, but seeing that Ruby for 32k in Crescent Lake, it's a hard call. It's a hard call, because you don't want to necessarily have to double dip the Melman continent. No, okay. I think in this situation you have to grind here in Crescent Lake if the old men don't give you a canoe. And go ahead and pick up that ruby, and I think that would have to be the play, is pick up a couple of levels here, get that ruby, and then just go all in on the Melman continent. Our tracker points out that he went ahead and just sold that fire shield to be able to afford the ruby.
Yeah, he did. It was interesting, because he could have made some money right here, probably.
Oh, he absolutely could have. Unless something utterly rude is hiding around here, like Bert is saying in chat, you can make that money real quick outside of Crescent.
Although, I mean, so the one thing that's rough about selling a shield is they give actually really good amount of absorb. So he's losing out on 12 absorb, which is not easily made up. Which doesn't seem a lot, but in these early levels, having 12 absorb is actually pretty crucial for somebody in that top slot who's basically getting battered nonstop.
Yeah. Nah, it's one of those things like... Yeah, I think that I think that you have to do the thing. I mean, yes, it's faster than grinding, but I think I agree with Dang. I think you're giving up too much in terms of you don't have enough killing power to be able to just throw away defensive your safeties like that. Like right now, Lifereboot's killing power is Ice 3 and a few shots of Fade. And yeah, no, I do agree. If you have to choose between a Fire Shield and that Opal Bracelet, you get rid of the shield. I'm just saying, I don't necessarily think he had to make that choice. I think he could have picked up a few more levels. He's gonna want levels anyway, because he's going to want that nuke. Okay, y'all are saying that he's gonna find a shield, but
I really like these runners and their optimism. Oh, we're gonna find another shield. Like, I don't know what seed you guys are running, but I'm always either trying to find a sword, armor, or something for my knight to carry around.
yeah, like there's one other shield that's equivalent to that they might find, and they might be able to replace it if they find a tail somewhere. Okay, yes, armor can be a crutch if you have the ability to kill things, which we really don't. That being said, it looks like that ruby is essential, because that's the canoe.
So, with the canoe, we have Ordeal's not open, we have Waterfall now open, we don't have Exit, we don't have Warp available. Waterfall's possible, Ice 3 takes care of Nightmares. I don't think he picked up Cake or Zap, so can't really handle the mud goals very efficiently.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm guessing y'all got here a little bit late. And Life doesn't know this yet. Oh, okay, now y'all do know. Yeah, mummies, very bad. Sorry, Dag, didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh no, it's fine.
I mean, no, flame shield resisting ice makes sense at least, because it's keeping you warm. It's Breath of the Wild logic.
So, well, I mean, okay, so we know mummies are dangerous. They're everywhere. I mean, I almost feel like Earth is the safest play, because the chance of running into the 1 or 2 mummies is a lot less. I hate to, like... No, actually, you know what I would do right now? Honestly, it's probably the herb turn in first. I hate to say this, just because it could lead to the floater.
I mean, there's also the incentive chest that can lead to floater. Like, I think... I do agree with you. I think the herb is the better turn-in, just because... it also puts you on track to... Yeah.
Unfortunately, we randomly lost you there.
Well, no, I stopped talking because I was thinking.
Ah, okay.
I started making words and then realized about halfway through the sentence that I didn't know where I was going with that thought. So I stopped.
Why would you do that? Just go with it, Lo. Be a dang woo for once. Just spew nonsense. Let one fine day, the Thunderclouds, the Burt Reynolds, you know, they correct you non-stop because they are the better runners. I know this. It's fine.
I mean, I'll argue with them as much as anyone. Just because they're better than me doesn't mean that they're always right.
Look.
That's the beauty of this game. You can be really, really good at it and still occasionally be hilarious and still occasionally be wrong. And you can be really, really terrible at it and sometimes you're right.
So, in this play, we've got Volcano that doesn't have mummies, unless it's... Oh, well, there's our ice, so that at least puts our knight... Oh, great, here comes Thunderclad. I told you so.
Yeah, just because Lifereboot got bailed out doesn't mean that you're right.
Yeah, see, there it is. And, well, and the important part is it's an ice shield, so now we have defense against the fire element, so mummies now don't hurt 2 of our characters.
Well,
Hooray.
yeah, but they still have stone poison.
Well, that's awkward.
Like, yes, you have resolved one of the 4 problems with mummies in this seed.
Look, I'm just gonna follow Thundercloud's logic, okay? We will find the ribbons. We don't need any shields, you know, with resistance or anything like that. We'll just magically find the ribbons as we go.
See, I'm going to stay in the pessimist's corner. Everything we want is somewhere inconvenient that we're never going to check.
Halos, actually, we can't buy a ribbon. He was actually looking at the selling options, and that's the reason why you saw the ribbon. Yeah, unfortunately, the Discord is being a little weird. I actually had a hard time getting into Discord originally. I think.
Yeah, I had Discord like fall out twice on me today. Like just straight up Discord, just hey, we're loading on me. So.
Yeah, I think with everything going on and the fact that they've allowed people to, you know, use their Discord servers in mass numbers now to like watch videos together and stuff, which is awesome, but I think it's really hampering their servers.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I'm in Alabama, so you know, at part of our internet like infrastructure is just, you know, baling wire strung between several poles.
All right, so left-hand side, I know we've talked a lot about Lifereboot because he's kind of been in the lead, showing a lot of new stuff. The Caront, unfortunately, just got blazed by either trolls or bulls, I think?
I think bulls, because I don't think we've seen that blaze out of trolls.
Alright, so bulls are in Earth.
Yeah, there's the confirmation.
Bulls are in Earth. They kind of appear in some other random locations, too, so...
Volcano and Ordeals.
Yeah, so...
I think. Or no, those are zombies that appear in Ordeals. Never mind.
So at least makes this early Earth dive potentially dangerous. Although the downside is he has to run in, run out. So Earth Cave is very dangerous. So for Caront, catching up, looks like he's going to do the same play that Lifereboot did. Kind of took a very different route, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, yeah, he kind of did what... it looks like he did what Life could have and took some fights outside of Crescent, because I think I did see him go back for that ruby. I hope he went back for that ruby. Because we now know that ruby is... No, he does not have the ruby. Okay. So... he may be just heading to Earth and hoping it has what he needs.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, because... you know where he might be going? Sky,
Where?
sky, 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 sky.
Yeah, no, that's where he's going. He is heading for Sky. Which, I guess, if you want that money for that ruby, but don't want to grind or sell things, this is your play. Because you don't want to have to go all the way to the Melman continent, dive down into potentially double-dip Earth, especially when you already know what the mummies can do to you.
And the bulls. He has the knowledge of the bulls. Lifereboot hasn't
True.
ran into them yet. But he got double bad block, though.
Yeah, Caront, that's true. Caront has a lot of knowledge about all of the terrible things that can happen to you in this seed, and Lifereboot has seen other terrible things that can happen to you in this seed. What on earth did you give these people, Dang?
Look, I like to make Ice Cave interesting, and as you can see, Geists with Frost, Lifereboot didn't check that chest because he was in combat and had to heal, so that chest could be important, but he might remember it on the way back.
Yeah. So that really raises the real question. When is the dev team going to fix the always looking down after a fight?
It is something that takes a little while to get used to. As you can see, it can be very disorienting and kind of tells you...
Sorry, that...
I mean, I understand. I have missed chess because of that, too, so I fully understand. And Sahags are demolishing Caront, I believe is going to force him to reset again.
Yeah, no, that laughter was over the, Elemental tile. I believe that's the B side of that Earth Elemental encounter that's sitting on the spike tile today. Lifereboot trying to quad-X the vampire, it looked like for a moment there. Yep. No problems with that. I believe as a certain program on Comedy Central once pondered, how can you kill that which has no life?
I'm hoping Caront brought houses. Oh, guards with fire to make this very difficult.
And the rod is in Earth Cave.
See? Earth, Earth, Earth. I keep telling people, Earth will pay off. You just have to believe.
Dang, you know you're not allowed to lie when there's an admin in the thing with you, right?
I'm not? Oh.
No, you're not.
I'm sorry. I was misinformed. Please talk to my agent. Hey, Caleb.
All right, yeah, I'll let you. I'll talk to Caleb about it. Make sure that he understands it from now on. He's always supposed to tell you things that put me at an advantage.
Okay. I mean, okay, so Lifereboot has to get through. I don't remember how many charges he has, but as long as he's kept a nuke or, you know, a zap, or if he had picked up Cake, you know, the best spell in the game, Lich would go down instantly. Which gives him a 1-orb lead. Great play. Can go check out Herb. If Herb happens to be the floater, I mean, it's a big brain play, and he puts him even farther ahead.
You know that just because y'all call it a big brain play doesn't actually make it one, right?
It does. He planned this ahead of time. He knew what was going on.
Okay, if he knew what was going on, that's cheating.
Sometimes you just have a sense of a read of what the seeds are telling you to do.
Okay, I see where you're going with this. It's the old principle of, if it works, it's a read. If it doesn't work, but what if it did?
Exactly. See, now you're getting it.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that we were working on Alpha Round. I can work with that.
Alright, so ooh, Zeus Gauntlet pickup. Another ribbon for Caront, so that's actually a very good pickup there.
Yeah, that is a very good pickup.
Ordeals becomes a lot easier when your casters are defended from those nasty AoE spells.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would have stuck the ribbon on the Black Mage. I think that ribbon I would have stuck on the Red Mage, just so both of my Life 2 casters now can live long enough to pick up the rest of the party after they horribly died to all of the things in this seed that do terrible things. Like there.
I mean, he's kind of in trouble, but...
He'll be fine.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, Mute. Okay. I thought Mute was going to go through, and I'm like, oh, no, he's fine.
Yeah, they've got ribbons on.
Hey, 3 and 256 means there's a chance.
Yes. Yes, it does. However, in this case, no. No, it's fine. It was always going to be fine. That's another one of those big brain plays.
Oh,
you know, he read the seed and saw that the 3 and 256 wasn't going to happen, so he planned ahead.
That's what I like to hear from you. That's what I'm talking about. Whoa. Tell the people.
I hate when my sarcasm is misinterpreted as me agreeing with you. You know that, right?
I mean, it sounds to me like you're agreeing with me. Big zap! Oh, unfortunately doesn't hit for Lifereboot. Takes on the... Ooh, poison damage. That's not a tasty spell to... Okay, Lifereboot. You actually have Lich very close to dying. Ice Tree's not the greatest spell to use, but it's a damage. Ooh, big hit from the Silver Axe. Come on, Lich. You're about to go down.
breaking out the fast to try and get this fighter through. Lich doing his best Kraken impression. Demanding respect. That's what I like to see out of Lich.
That's right. I am Lich, you are... Ooh, Blizzard! Hello! Oh, Lifereboot lights his first orb, doesn't even heal after exiting, or after defeating
he
Lich.
still had like he still had like 200 HP on the fighter. He probably would have been fine if he'd gotten into a fight, unless it was the mummies.
Left-hand side mummies. Ah! No, we ran away.
Yeah. No, look, there is a reason that I respect Lich, and that's because when you stop respecting Lich, that's when he decides to get serious.
So what you're saying is in our match, you didn't respect Lich?
That's where I learned to respect Lich, dang.
So you've learned your ways of always pay the tribute of a cake spell up to Lich, and you will be guaranteed a easy passage in Temple of Fiends?
No, I've learned my lesson that against Lich, you just pull out all stops and obliterate him with extreme prejudice.
Okay, I mean, that's fair. I would take that fight with Caront. Unless your spell charges are less, I mean, try and take that fight, because if you fail all the... Okay, we got out, but...
Well, yeah, I think it's one of those...
Experience.
Yeah, it's one of those things I think he's thinking about. He's going to probably get into more fights with those guards on the way down. That's true, though. He does have a light axe. Yeah, okay, here's what he was thinking about. These unrunnable vampires. Using the black shirt instead of the light axe. Not really a fan of that. Because that Harm 2 will do work against vampires, but Fate'll do the job nicely enough.
Sure. I mean, at this moment, he's pretty close to getting out. As long as he doesn't have to save too many charges or doesn't have to expend it all, he should be fine.
Yeah, but I think that's what he was thinking there is, yeah, that fight would be nice, but A, there's a lot of danger in it, but B, I also need to potentially, punch my way out of this dungeon. I would just reset out of this fight. Ankylos are never worth it.
Yeah, especially when they're unrunnable.
Oh, Lifereboot is about to learn about mummies. If he hasn't already. Although he might actually be able to get away.
Big
unless they kill his thief first.
They should roll high enough where Fire 2's not guaranteed. That's kind of annoying, too.
But there is a katana back there, so that's nice for our runners to see.
Okay, so we're 49 minutes and a half in.
Mm-hmm.
49 and a half minutes in. Lifereboot basically has a... We'll call it a lead because he's done Earth, he's killed Lich.
Yeah, I would definitely call it a lead.
He's probably in a better shape. Actually, I think Caront's in a better shape to do Waterfall and Ordeals right now because he's got the 2 ribbons on 2 of his casters.
Yeah, the big thing right now that Caront and Lifereboot are going to be dealing with, we haven't seen Warp, we haven't seen Exit, and we haven't... Well, okay, we haven't seen Warp or Exit. There's only 2 things on that list. Lifereboot resetting out of the katana, it looks like. Did he run that out, or did he decide he didn't need it?
He almost wiped out. That Ice Shield actually saved his fighter and was able to run away. But that's all he had left, and so he just reset.
I mean, I understand, but you brought that thief and you didn't dan it. I feel like you have to keep that katana if you didn't save it. I mean, I guess he knows where it is, so he'll at least have it for Topher, but...
And look who joined us in chat. We got Uriel Man in here. How's it going, Uriel Man? Uriel Man. We got Thundercloud, which we've already pointed out, calling us out for all of our missayings.
I maintain that I'm not wrong.
Avos Ruin is our tracker for today. I know we didn't give him a whole lot of love. I'm sorry about that, Avos. I kind of got into the zone there. So thank you for tracking. Ooh, I see SVJ. We got Hangry Kana. Oh my goodness, we got all these people hanging out with us for Spring Tournament 2020. Monty Chaos's Casino. This is round 2 of the Swiss brackets, or the Swiss rounds, I should say. And my name is Dang Wu, and Woat, the he/him boat himself, is hanging out with me. Woat, pleasure as always.
You know, Dang, we're not actually federally mandated to have a station identification break.
Yes, we are when everybody joins in. Look, every now and then you gotta do a 10 seconds, hey, this is me.
You are listening to WRMA, your one-stop shop for all things randomizer.
That's right. Once again, FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. FinalFantasyRandomizer.com.
Sunday. But yeah, so for those of you who are just joining us, so far, the main thing we've learned about this seed is everything has everything awful. As you can see, Sogs with Squint and Ice 2, Mummies are rocking Stone Poison and Fire 2, and I think one of the other Starry spells. Medusae apparently have Lit 2 and Heat. Scums had Cremate and were unrunnable. Let's see.
Something had Blizzard. Didn't they?
I don't remember what had Blizzard, but that was awful as well.
Oh, and they have Cremate too, so Lifereboot basically is a fighter and a dream against airs blocking the air, or the ordeal's incentive.
Ambush airs.
Oh, perfect.
Well, I mean, we don't know if they're ambush, but they definitely got the jump on life. Yeah. So, yeah. There's not too much to really recap, because it's one of those things, both of these runners have been getting slowed down by everything that this seed has done to them. Oh, Frost Wolves have Thunder. Thank you, Avos.
So, I mean, it's not just like uncommon packs too. Medusas are in multiple areas. You will find them in the air.
Oh yeah,
in
Bulls
the
with
floating...
Flays. That was the other terrible thing we saw.
Right. I mean, so most of these enemies are showing up in multiple locations. The Medusas will be in the floating castle with man-cats, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're in some other locations there. I mean, I'm trying to remember all of them, but off the top of my head, I mean, we can still run into them other locations, but once we get high enough level, it's not nearly as bad. But, I mean, most of these enemies are common or, in multiple locations. It's not like imps with Nuke, where you only run into them in a couple areas, like one area,
Yeah. So, definitely, not the friendliest of situations to be in. So Life does now know the way through the maze, so he saved a lot of steps and a lot of fights getting back to these airs.
So, one good news, airs are not cast happy, so they're just punching and they don't seem to be that strong, which is nice. I mean, they're doing good damage, but it's not like overwhelming, which is good.
Yeah, the main overwhelming threat is the fact that there's 6 of them.
Right.
But Life manages to get out of dodge after realizing that only one of those airs went down to a pair of Ice 3s. Which is not a great situation.
Gargoyles. Okay, if there's anything I ever fear, it's gargoyles every time I see them.
Well, yeah, it's one of those things. I think there was a stretch sometime last year where it felt like every single seed, the Argoyles just rolled something awful.
It really does. And even when they don't do anything, every time I see... Oh, well, there's another katana, so Lifereboot is able to regain that katana and finds an adamant and reveals.
Okay. Can I just be honest? I hate when someone does something and then doesn't suffer for it.
I mean, look at the grind tile that's easily available right now. Oh, never mind. Mages actually rolled pretty high.
Yeah, like I said, that any enemy with the Dark Elf sprite has a hilarious amount of M defense. Like I said, I think it's like in the 160, 170 range. It is comparable to what the carries have. And carries M defense is stupid.
Carrie definitely has a good amount of it, and the herb turns into bottles, so herb not as important, or so there's a nice call by Lifereboot to do the earth play.
Alright, Caront, have a thing. So it's one of those things. I think someone in chat called it earlier. Caront is probably not going to do Earth anytime soon because he's going to be waiting to get the rod to go do that. The thing is, though, is with that canoe in hand, we know that that's not necessarily a bad thing. Because Lifereboot, opened every chest in Earth looking for the loose item. Caront isn't going to have that problem. And okay, there we go. So I don't hate this. I think he can go mode Earth later once he works out that the rod has to be there. Because once he finds the other loose item, he'll know that the rod has to be in an incentive location. It may lead to him doing a couple of fetch quests, but that's not the worst thing with that power bonk still out there. Meanwhile, we somehow now have an adamant tail. I don't get it, but okay.
So that means we have waterfall, we have ice, or we have... Well, no, we have mirage also, because that's they're completely open to our runners. So floater could be loose. This actually could be a floaterless seed, potentially. Although we still need loot. Loot, Oxyel. That's it, right?
Yeah, loot and Oxyel are the only two key items we need.
So we got waterfall, we've got ice cave, and we got volcano and mirage. So if a loose and a couple other things, yeah, I mean it could be. Chances are probably not, but we have a potential floaterless seed.
Yeah, the potential's there, I just don't see it. Because at this point, the only incentive location... We only have 2 incentive locations left. That are accessible without the floater. Caront's about to go check one of them, and Life is about to check the other. So, unless we see the loot and the Oxyale in the next few minutes, we're gonna need that floater.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if both of these are loot and Oxyale, it just means that there's a loose floater out there, which means they might go for the floater anyways because they want that promotion.
We have not found the second loose yet, Cheese. So, yes, in theory, the loot or the Oxyale could also be loose, but that's just the theory.
Oh, for sure. But it would be interesting though, because that means there's so many chests to check though if you want to get that floater though.
I mean, really, the bigger problem is I'm not going to be allowed to call in races anymore because that would be the second race in as many weeks I've called where the floater was the loose item and everything else shook out in a way where you didn't need it. If it does turn out that way.
Well, I mean, we're getting close. Nightmares don't seem to have rolled too badly, although they're hitting pretty hard. Or decently hard, I should say.
Yeah. And resisting that Ice 3, which is annoying because, like, ice spells are what I like to use against nightmares. So it's just rude when they don't play along.
Saber Tease with Nuke. Bye-bye, Caront.
Oh, that's rude.
Once again, my ice cave pays off and sends more runners back. Oh, that's beautiful. Gorgeous.
Oh, that's mean. Now, that's also a formation that somehow we didn't see causing trouble in Mirage.
But we did find an X-Cal, so that's very usable. If we promote, unfortunately, we need a Knight, which is a fighter promotion, so...
The floater is not in the locked TOF chests. Life already checked those, and it's a katana and some cash.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, because don't those... Oh no, poor Lifereboot went the wrong way trying to exit it out. Has to fight these again.
Don't those what?
I was going to say, don't those Saber Tees and Medusas show up together in another spot? Is that Mirage? Or is that...
Yeah, it's Mirage.
Okay.
Yeah, but you also do have the Saber T Tiger formation in the on-rack area. Which that shouldn't be too much of a problem because you can just manipulate around that, but it's still very rude to see. And fortunately for Caront, like, that was just a spike tile. Like, he can just skip over the mage chest if he doesn't want to deal with it, which, I wouldn't. Yeah, I know it's a risk to skip that chest, but, yeah, not worth it.
I would. I'd pass that by real quick. Be like, nah, I'm good. Thanks, though.
Like, it's one of those things, if something important's in there, you know what, I'll just come back for it. I'll let my opponent be the one who bangs his head against the wall of Saber Tees with Nuke, because you know, the thing is about Saber Tees, they don't go down easily.
And I actually missed what the robot gave us.
Well, fortunately, our wonderful tracker tells us it was the TNT.
Oh, yeah,
So
right.
we do actually have the Adamant and TNT checks for Lifereboot. We completely forgot about those. So he's got plenty of opportunities to find key items still.
Although that is a nice drop-down experience there for Caront. Ooh, another one, too. The Tyro and Wervin, so that's pretty good experience there, but he's also got to remember that he's got to take on those water white shirt there. So he does have to save spells, though. He does have to go through one more lap of Ice Cave to get out. Yeah, for anybody that doesn't know, we have a lot of FFR action going on tonight.
Yeah. So Life finally checking this herb to see what it's going to give him, and the answer is going to be disappointment.
Caront finds some barbecue wings.
Yeah, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to have to stick those in the freezer.
Really looks like he's putting them in the microwave.
Okay, well, I mean, you know, you stick them in the freezer, and then you microwave them when you're ready to eat.
I mean, either way works. Mage Staff, so that's a nice thing. Casts fire, too, when used. so we're going to get the TNT turn-in. We're going to see what that goes into, and then from there, Lifereboot then can go west to make his way into Ice Cave. I'm assuming going to hang out with Caront, I would assume. Or maybe he makes the cheeky play and goes Mirage. Or Volcano.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like the cheeky play at this point is Volcano. Because Mirage is a kind of, like, now that both these runners have some experience, have some gear, Mirage isn't nearly as dicey a play as it was at the outset.
No, that's very true. And Zombie D's Whiz Vamps, not a bad spike tile to find. Use that Mage Staff. Cast Fire too.
Now he's opting for the Light Axe, which... And the TNT is what gives us the floater. So...
Alright, so... Oxtail is there, so unfortunately for Caront, this could be kind of bad here, depending on what he... No, it's fine, because... Actually, it is bad news, because he's going to do Waterfall, right? More than likely, he's going to do Waterfall. Then he's going to do the Sea Shrine, and then he's going to do the TNT turn-in.
Maybe.
Because you're not going to leave after Waterfall and leave Oxtail to come back to do Sea Shrine. You might as well just do it.
Well, okay, the thing is he could do Sea Shrine, but not do the full clear.
Very true, but with one loose, with all those chests, especially mermaids. I mean, I'm not saying... I mean, I would basically be second-guessing myself the entire time I left.
See, and that's something that, like... I think that's something that you just have to bear in mind sometimes with randomizers. You just don't second guess. If you make a play, you commit to that play. You say, you know what? If I was wrong, my opponent's already won. So I'm just going to assume I was right. And are Mummies Cockatrices unrunnable this seed? Because that looks like Mummies and Cockatrices are unrunnable this seed. And that is supremely rude.
Really is, but good thing we have light axes, we got fire too, a bunch of things to take care of them now. And Lifereboot at about 108.20 in the air, gonna check out what the bottle gives us to see what the tiny fairy and pro rings that resist death for 9,000. Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, so we have stupidly cheap pro rings and stupidly cheap gold bracelets this seed. That's really nice. Like, that is solid defense combined with not having to, you know, sell your soul.
I think the gold bracelets were cheap too at 7,000, so both of them, I mean, you basically get a mage, the beginner armor pack for 15,000.
Lifereboot giving us actually a peek of the level 8 magic. Not sure what he's still looking for.
And I think Caront's gonna do that. He's gonna do the play to go to Onrak.
No, oh yeah, you're right. Based on the direction he's sailing. Which, at least, good heads up, remembering that this is the fastest way to get to the Onrak area.
Well, from there, you'd want to go east, I think.
Now, if he's going west, then maybe he's going back to Sky. Figuring, well, shoot, if I'm about of something that's... Never mind, he's going east.
So, I mean, he's getting the TNT, that's fine. And he's going to light his first orb, because he's going to take on a crack, and he's going to rely upon the Fade charges, he's going to rely upon the nuke charges that the Black Wizard, or the Black Mage, and the Red Mage has. He can't decide if he wants to go east or west, so he's kind of...
He's decided he's going to say, okay, he...
I mean, that way works too. I mean, if you're
Yeah.
used to it, go with it. It's a lot better to go a way that you know where you're going than to go a different way and get completely lost. So just do what you got to do, go with it.
Oh, no, he's going to Ordeal.
I mean, that play makes sense too because it's on the way. You do Ordeals, you do Waterfall, and you get all your incentives as you go. Do it. I mean, Ordeals led to the Adamants, and that gave us a tail, so it's not really required. And it was kind of dangerous, so...
Yeah, but it's one of those things, he's got the tools to mitigate a lot of the danger. And quite frankly, after that ice cave, I don't think he fears anything anymore.
So, right-hand side...
But yeah, Life gets his Clash Chain.
In the words of Caleb, he put the HR papers in, it finally got processed, and he got a promotion.
I'm just not going to acknowledge that metaphor. That metaphor is kind of garbage, not gonna lie.
I mean, I might have abbreviated, but Lifereboot actually resets out of those Saber Tees and doesn't know what the Saber Tees are going to bring to him.
Well, he may just wind up dodging the nuclear bullet completely.
Back-to-back 5 guild chests. Oh, nice. I think that dragon was actually trying to protect Lifereboot from shock.
I don't know what is in that box, but it sounds disappointing.
Exactly. Alright, Lifereboot, where are you going? You got promotion, you might as well buy your spells. No, he's not going to buy spells. He's going to dive down. I would have bought spells at this point. Because at level 15, your knight and your ninja is going to learn their first charges.
Yeah, I mean, he may just be thinking, the Red Wizard's enough life too.
Interesting question here in chat. Is the Defense Sword better than the Exhale? No. They have the same hit growth. Well,
I think that Avos has the right of it. It depends on which way you mean that. Carry on.
Well, okay. In any sorts of anything, except for maybe Tiamat and Chaos, if you have no better weapon, Excal is the better weapon. Because it has the same hit growth, has the same hit break points. So you're going to have the same hits no matter which one you use. The difference is the Defense Sword's going to have a little better crit, but the X-Scale is going to hit harder.
Yeah, but who cares about that? The Defense Sword makes it so that nothing can punch you.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about attacking. We're not talking about using.
No, we're not. They just asked which sword is better, not better at what. Like, yeah, the X-Scal's great if your plan is to just hit everything, but if you're trying to be clever, the Defense Sword's better. And more importantly, that X-Cal is useless if you didn't bring a fighter. That Defense Sword is always useful no matter what the party comp. I'm just saying, you know, you can have an all black belt party, that Defense Sword is still a valuable sword. And it's better than every other sword in the game in that situation. All white mage party, that Defense Sword, best sword you're gonna find. And I see that I have stunned Dangwu into silence.
I'm stunned.
And we do at least find a loose power bomb somewhere. Oh, okay. No, we haven't found it. Alright, yeah. No, we just have checked all incentive locations now. I am not a very smart man. So, technically speaking, we're in go mode. Now, whether or not... Well, we're in no mode, because Life hasn't gone and gotten that Oxyale yet. So, here's the question, though. Is he going... Okay. Here's the problem Lifereboot may be about to have. He doesn't know that he doesn't need the loose item, because he hasn't gone to Ice Cave yet to find it. So he may be about to open every box in Sky, which, that's a lot of boxes. Also, Dang, are you okay? You really are being really quiet all of a sudden.
Oh, no, I was... Cheeseater brought up something about the crit rate of the defense sword, and I was just... did a little research on one of our information stuff we have, and I was always under the impression that the defense sword had a better crit rate than it does.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly it doesn't.
Yeah, it's what? Roughly the same as the Sun Sword. Excuse me, Sun Sword?
I mean, it's the same as Xcal. It's literally 5% or whatever. It's awful.
Okay.
It's got like a 5 crit rate.
Yeah. No, the defense sword is an utterly garbage-like thing to hit well, not utterly garbage. The defense sword is kind of the low end of things you want to be swinging at bad people at the end of the game. No, its value is entirely in the fact that it casts ruse. Yeah, no, defense sword is... My policy is, like, unless you are playing high scaling with clamped, anything Ice Sword or better is a win. It is an end game state. Like, that is enough firepower to get you through everything, like, I'd say up to maybe 220% unclamped. And even clamped, I would still probably be okay with trying to go through it with the Ice Sword. And, you know, a bit of tempering to help me out. But either way, it's one of those things like, again, if you consider a sword's utility to solely be in swinging it, then yeah, the defense sword is not a great sword. But that's such a restrictive view of the merits of a weapon.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those weird questions. I guess I look at it as the practicality of the Xcal basically does extra damage against pretty much all enemies except for outside of Tiamat. Astos, ironically, doesn't have a type. And there's a bunch of other ones, actually, you know, in Chaos, too. But the pure damage of the Xcal will definitely do very well. The defense sword doesn't have the pure damage numbers, but as you said, it does cast ruse. And Lifereboot's gonna dive down into Ice Cave now, so will he find the Saber-Tease with Nuke?
Huh, I didn't realize Astos didn't have a type.
Yeah, there's actually a couple. I think it's Bad Men or Evil Men or another one that doesn't have a type.
Yeah, Tia at least does have a type, so... and it's bad men who don't have a type. Evil men are magical. And mages.
I mean, the Tia 2 loses its type.
No, Tia 2's still a dragon.
I thought Tia 2 lost its type in the Temple.
No, Tia 2 just doesn't have any vulnerabilities. Like, Yeah, but no, Tia 2, unless Astral Esper has that wrong, Tia 2 has a dragon.
So then it would have a weakness, right?
To the X-Cal, yes. And technically to the Dragon Sword, but if you're bringing the Dragon Sword into Temple of Fiends Revisited, you are probably the boldest runner of this game who has ever lived. Or just Will Bloodworth, and didn't bother promoting a thief. And never found Mazza.
Thief for the win.
But yeah, so to answer the question that is being raised in chat of what is meant with useless, yeah, basically the people when a sword is referred to as useless, it is generally referring more to its merits as a weapon rather than its merits as like a thing what casts spells. So in the case of the the defense sword, as far as a thing what you hit people with, it's not ideal. It's a good enough sword. It's better than an ice sword. It's about on par with a sun sword. And Lifereboot finding out about the saber tease, it looks like. Like, if the best sword you have is a defense sword, you can beat the game with it without necessarily needing to pull out all the stops. But if you have your choice of a defense sword or a different sword, the Sun Sword, the X-Cal, the Mazza, the Vorpal are all better choices. And the Katana, if you're talking about on a ninja, are all better choices in terms of things to hit the bad guys with. So that's generally what people mean when they say the defense sword is useless compared to the Excalibur. They're talking about in terms of just like its value as an end-game weapon. But I like to be a contrarian, so I'm arguing that no, there is a use case for the defense sword even when you have the Excalibur.
I mean, you can always put it on your ninja if you really needed to, or your red wizard, you know? I mean, putting on your red wizard is not too bad either. It's a backup, you know? You never know, you might lose your knight. Have your red wizard carry, but... So, I think Caront's slow... It's weird. I would say that he's slowly catching up, but the problem is he still doesn't have an orb lit. He's still doing everything Lifereboot's already done.
So here's the thing, though, is Caront's going to pick up a lot of time on Lifereboot if he saves Earth for last. Because he is not going to need to open a single box in Earth.
Yeah, because once Lifereboot gets through here, he gets the Oxtail, he's in go mode. Lifereboot's about to be going in go mode. I don't think Caront's missing loot and Rod, so the only thing that hurts him is the Rod, and he thinks that Rod is loose still.
Well, he should know that there's incentive chest still available. So, once he finds the loot and knows that the Rod is either loose or in Earth, hopefully he'll make the deduction that, like, if he doesn't want to keep opening boxes, he just needs to go to Earth and see what's in the incentive chest and plan from there. But yeah, the thing is, though, is Lifereboot will be in key item go mode, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's in go mode. His armor situation is still not fantastic. And that power gauntlet is still out there. Because that is the thing about Final Fantasy Randomizer compared to a lot of other games. Just because you have all the key items you need doesn't mean go mode if you don't have the gear or levels you need to deal with Temple of Fiends. And the gear you need to deal with Temple of Fiends is a very subjective matter, wouldn't you agree?
It is. I mean, I have to admit, the past couple runs that I have... well, you're going to actually be shocked. I want you to have a seat. Listen here. I have actually done a couple practice seats. Like, one every the past a couple days. And I've actually had to do a bunch of seats without ribbons and iron armor. And let me tell you, those are some of the most terrifying and most anxiety-ridden Tophers I've ever done. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Opal armor plus 2 ribbons is... like, that is good enough, but is it good enough for Lifereboot is the question, I think, Avos. Like, because, yeah, that is, in my opinion, one of the beautiful things about this randomizer is, like, there is such a broad degree between, you know, what is comfortable and what isn't. Also, I like your belief that I was standing up for all of this.
Wait.
Like, until now.
You're not standing up? Like, this is Swiss Round 2 action going on. Well, you gotta get up on your feet. You've got to get ready to broadcast to our millions and millions of fans out there.
No, I don't.
Okay, that's fair.
I'll save you the trouble. No, I don't.
Alright.
Yeah. No, I know, I'm kidding, though. But, like, no, I'm lazy. It's hilariously lazy. But, yeah, like, it is one of those things, though, where in these two runners' case, I don't know what their comfort level is for Temple of Fiends. And that is going to matter, ultimately, is working out, like... excuse me, where you want to be before making your final dive into the final dungeon. Because, you know, like, just as a for instance, you know, I'm perfectly comfortable trying those, like, super low level dives, you know, even at relatively high scaling, just because, you know, I like getting to break out the weird spells in the spell book to try and basically clear fights I have no business clearing. That's my idea of fun, honestly. But it's also one of those things, some people, it's just like, I don't want to go into Temple of Fiends Revisited without at least, you know, a Sun Sword. And, you know, these both being newer runners, I don't know where that comfort level lies for them. So, my point is, Lifereboot might be in Go mode, but he might not be. Also, he has the defense sword equipped on that night when he has an Excalibur.
Whoa. You were just telling us that the defense sword was better. I heard it. You all heard it, too. He said the defense was better.
No, I said the defense sword was better, but I said the Excalibur was better if you're planning to hit things with it.
Oh, now he's changing what he's saying, folks.
Okay, someone go back and watch the tape and listen to the 5 minutes of me holding forth on the Excalibur. Versus the defense sword.
That was great times. Let's not go back into that, because that was like 8 minutes worth of tape, and we don't got time for that.
I mean, we might. Lifereboot's grinding right now, and Caront's doing all of these fetch quests that, we had to do.
Oh, you see that, Walt? MG Weirdo's on my side. Mana culture right there.
Well, yeah, of course the weirdos would support you.
I would say I'm offended by that, but I'm really not.
Well, yeah, you can't be offended when I'm right.
Yeah, that's true. So for as much as Lifereboot's been grinding right now, the Caront's level's not too bad. A Sky play right now is actually pretty decent, because you're gonna be checking chests. Yeah, because loot, but he's gonna do the turn in here.
Yeah, so Caront. Yeah, so this is where, you know, this is where it's going to be interesting, because if he's done his homework, Caront should be able to go, all right, I need to go do Earth, because I need to see what's in that last incentive chest, so that I know if I can stop opening boxes unless I feel like it. Or he might just say, I'm right here, Mirage is right here, there's still things that I want, let's just go have a box opening bonanza.
And gaining lots of experience. So, you're looking for what we know is the power bomb, which is amazing. I mean, power gauntlet, I'm gonna call it, because we call it the power bomb because it increases, our weapons damage and a slight bit of accuracy, because it casts a saber. But the reason why it's so good is that knight is able to solo things. If everybody dies out, that knight has a chance with a defense sword and power glove to solo bosses, unless the bosses roll really, really evil.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is Fast and Temper were both really friendly this seed, in terms of what levels they landed on and what else is on those levels. Like...
Fastest 2, Temper is 4, I think?
Yeah. So, it's one of those things, like, you have 2 characters who can cast... You have 3 characters, if you're Caront, who can cast Life 2. You have 3 sources of Temper and Fast. You really don't need that Power Gauntlet. Like, as soon as he figures out that the Power Gauntlet is his loose item, hopefully he realizes that with the party he's got and the spells available, he has absolutely no reason to grab the Power Gauntlet. He can keep that party upright. Like, the only place the Power Gauntlet would potentially come into play is Chaos himself, if Chaos first turn wipes everyone but the Knight. I'm gonna go ahead and knock on wood after saying that.
I was gonna say, are you really trying to jinx our runners already? Like, come on, well. And it looks like Caront's gonna follow your advice, gonna follow the incentives, gonna do Earth here now. It'll be interesting. Does he go straight towards Earth incentive? Now, most people would say you gotta check everything. I kind of agree, but at the same time, I think actually you go right to the incentive in this case, because you have a 50-50 shot, or maybe what you do is you go to like Earth 3, or check maybe Earth 2 and Earth 3 as you're going, but skip this one until after you've already checked the incentive, because you can check this after Lich.
Well, I think what he's doing right now is he's checking the spike tiles in case he needs to do a grind.
Yeah, I mean, that's very good information to have. That's what Lifereboot's doing here, is trying to take out the ninja there, get levels on the important characters. I
don't think it was trying to take out the ninja. I think the ninja just died.
I mean, wow, he's level 26 already. That's actually really high levels for a set of characters that is actually well equipped. I have to admit, he's very well equipped.
Yeah, to answer a question in chat, while that functionality is not currently in there to randomize where the spike tiles are, I know that that's been experimented with by our dev team in the past. Like I said, I don't think that functionality is like currently available anywhere outside of like someone's personal build of the randomizer. But it is definitely something folks have looked at before, of randomizing spike tile placement.
I mean, it's such an interesting spot right now, because that ninja's in the 20s. It's got a high run chance, So basically, Lifereboot's going to be go moding and just running from everything. Which is, I mean, you have the best running class in the game, so I mean, it's gonna be nice for sure. So I mean, I think he should get through these 3 things really quickly. You know, the volcano with the lava tiles is really quick, especially in go mode. Mirage is decently quick, or it's actually kind of slow because of all the encounters, especially with the Bridge of Destiny, but we have a ninja. And then Sea Shrine gets slow only because of the unrunnable Wiz Sahags and Red Sahags. So, I mean, he should be lighting these 3 orbs very quickly. You know, you do Volcano after you get all of your camping equipment, or, I mean, all your dungeon equipment, all your health potions, you know, all that stuff right now. I mean, I think he should be entering Temple of Fiends in about 1 hour 50 minutes, 1 hour 55 at most.
If he go modes, I could see, yeah, about an hour 50. Because Earth takes, like, 2 to 3 minutes. Volcano takes 2 to 3 minutes. Air will take a little bit longer. Oh no, he's already done Earth. I'm thinking of water. Yeah, water and volcano combined can take, like, 5 minutes if you get good encounter luck. And, you know, just fly and ignore everything that is not, you know, less than 3 steps off of your critical path. Air takes us a little bit longer because the encounter rate is a little bit higher in some of the floors, and you just have more floors to traverse. So, basically, if Life has done his map study, if he hits Topher, like, past an hour 50, something has gone horribly wrong.
Is he going to Life Party?
He might be.
I mean, that's a nice pickup. Opal Shield, once again, we find another shield after... Somehow he manages to find, like, 2 or 3 more shields after selling that fire shield, so... Good on Lifereboot, but I have to admit, don't get used to that.
Not sure I'm necessarily a fan of this two-man strategy. Like, he'll be fine getting through the Fiend dungeons. Probably.
It's just not going to be as quick.
Yeah, like, I think at this point he's already hung so much experience on the rest of his party that he's not really going to get any benefit from this. And he's losing out on the ability to run away from things. And yeah, our tracker pointing out he is still opening some of these chests that he really doesn't need to.
Now, I mean, I will say the only advantage of it is after level 20, there's a cap on the amount of experience needed to gain, really. So maybe he wants to just get those few extra levels that he can gain with a 2-person party and then revive them when he needs them. So if he does, like, Mirage play next, oh, hello, Aegis Shield. You know, he gains a few extra levels because with a 2-person party, since there's no longer, like, a progressive experience needed for every level after 20, he's just hoping to gain those extra levels on the 2 important characters. But at level 26, it feels awkward, but it makes sense, though, because he needs level 29. Xcal requires level 29 to hit the 5th hit. Same with the defense sword. But with being at level 26, though, it's maybe being a little more cautious, but once again, these are newer runners. I mean, this is stuff that once they get more familiar with breakpoints, more familiar with things and stuff like that, and maybe taking a little more fights in Mirage and stuff. Instead of doing a 2-person party, you might do a 4-person party and gain it as you go.
Yeah, I'm personally a fan of the gain it as you go philosophy, but that's mostly because I hate static grinding. Like, I just can't stand it.
And I mean, I don't blame you for that. I mean, it's... so the one cool thing is, obviously, is you want to be able to choose your fights. You want to choose the most experience-gained fights where they're going to die quickly, and that's what you're going to go off with. You only need 2 more levels, and that knife becomes pretty dangerous. We've now got 5 hits on our weapon. And going C, if you're going to take fights, okay, C Shrine does a very good job of it. You can go mode air then. Cool. I mean, especially if you run into those McGurk sharks and big eyes, or yeah, those are high experience wielding enemies that are great. A seafood party platter is, you know, a decent amount of experience too.
Yeah, the main reason I would think grabbing experience in C in this particular seed would be an alright plan is just we have those Ice 3s. And that will do work in C Shrine. Unless you're fighting ghosts, but if you're fighting ghosts, they were probably unrunnable in the first place because never fight ghosts.
So, the Caront on the left-hand side, 1 or 2 orbs behind right now, gets a flame armor. That's the one that Lifereboot actually missed because of the after an encounter you always look down. Stone poison comes out, kind of wrecks Caront there. But once he checks this Earth Incentive, he'll be in go mode, and it's basically a race to see how fast Caront can catch up. Lifereboot's got higher levels overall, so advantage Lifereboot on top of having a 2-orb lead here, at least in my opinion.
But Caront, like, yeah, Lifereboot does have a level advantage, but it's not a very big one for the amount of grinding he... Like, I think you pointed that out already, but Carant's got his party in the 20s already. So it's one of those things, like, if he sees this rod, realizes he does not need that power bonk, and just never opens another chest, he can very quickly catch up to Lifereboot. Because he's going to be out of Earth in about 2 minutes if he just go modes it and runs from everything. He's going to be through fire in 2 or 3 minutes if he just doesn't open boxes and just go modes everything. He's going to be through water in about 4 or 5 minutes, just because you're more likely to hit unrunnable encounters in water. And then, you know, he'll be through air at about the same speed Lifereboot does. Like, it's one of those things, I could easily see a situation where Caront is only a few minutes behind Lifereboot going to the Temple of Fiends. And Life has an experience advantage, but Caront has that safety advantage and a lot more shots of Fade, because he has shots of Fade. Period. So, like, yeah, he's at an orb disadvantage, but those orbs he's at a disadvantage fast. Like, he's about to get one, and he's gonna have the other in a few minutes.
No, true. But at the same time here, we have a ninja that's in actually level 16. I thought it was actually higher. No, that was Imp, so that's the Black Mage. So, just the ninja has new... No, it's not new, because that's level 5. But has the katana, so if the knight goes down randomly, we still have a ninja. If Carant's knight goes down, he has to rely upon Red Wizard, White Wizard, Black Wizard to spell charge it down, which is possible. We have Nuke, we have Fade available, so it's interesting how this seed played out. Both runners have a distinct place style, and it perfectly evened it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was not a huge advantage in one or the other party. It's weird.
Yeah. So yeah, it's one of those things that kind of comes down to, you know, basically, is the speed and melee advantage that Lifereboot has, is that going to be sufficient to balance out the fact that Caront basically can just lob magic at all of the bosses and not even think about it? Of course, it's probably not going to matter because Caront's going to still be in this fight by the time Lifereboot finishes with all of these, you know, multiple enemies casting Fog 2 on 9 enemies.
There it goes again. Oh no, Caront, no. I can see his webcam. He is not entertained by this.
Well, fortunately, all of the ghouls are now dead. Yeah. One thing, though, that, I'm going to say this because I know Caront watches the VODs after his races. The Mage Staff is better than the Light Axe for dealing... just period. If you have both. Because the Mage Staff is getting bonus damage from being fire magic. Like, if you have the Light Axe, slap it on someone else, but you want to use the Mage Staff over the Light Axe every time, if you have both available.
Just like that, the power of the defense, the power of the katana takes down Kraken. Lifereboot lights his third orb and has a 2-orb advantage, but on the left-hand side, Caront finally able to escape the Fog 2 casting ghouls and is in Volcano, which is very quick while in go mode.
Yeah, like, he might open a couple of boxes like Lifereboot did, but he is going to be out of here in about 3 minutes.
Alright, so we have... Okay, so Lifereboot has to make it through Mirage 1, Mirage 2, Mirage 3. Has to watch out for Saber Tigers. He's got pretty good HP values where he should be able to avoid it, but if the Saber Ts roll 2 of them, it's very hard to avoid a double nuke first turn. But we do have life charges, so it's not horrible, but it slows you down a substantial amount.
So far, he has... Bless you. So far, he's managed to duck all of that. And hey, it's everyone's favorite Argoyles, which he also gets away from. So, Lifereboot into the Floating Fortress. With its very nifty music. And Caront healing up after lava running.
So, I'm thinking one deep Topher wipe allows Caront into it. Now, the only downside is Lifereboot then has a lot of knowledge and has a lot of HP levels to make use of that knowledge.
Very true. The big thing on Caront's side of things is survivability right now. Because, you know, in addition to that White Mage, his Black Mage has a few levels on Lifereboot's Black Mage. And when you're able to pump out more damage because A, your Black Mage has more casts, but B, also lives longer, that can come into play. And that is a Maza in chests. So... That is a very nice find.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that Maza would have been on the Red Mage.
I am apt to agree. Just go ahead. Well, I might have put the Mazda on the Ninja, actually, but I also tend to favor let the Ninja hit these strats. But yeah, Caront is through with Carry, has the second orb lit, and is probably going to go ahead and do C, and then... Oh no, he's going to go ahead and do Sky, and then C. So...
Alright, well, anybody for... I know there's a lot of Final Fantasy Randomizer action out there, but we got about half of the bridge left. Let's get some Bless RNGs in chat. Let's see if we can get the Warmech out here. Lifereboot needs more experience, in my opinion.
You realize that if that happens, Warmech's going to wipe Lifereboot's party, Caront's going to get ahead of him, Lifereboot is somehow going to see Warmech a second time, get wiped again, and then you'll have commentators cursed him, right?
Well, save me, it's airs. Okay, last week's my battle against High Spirits, these airs were unrunnable. First turn nuke, okay? I'm actually terrified right now.
Ah, so you suffer lich disorder.
I mean, you would too, but the good news is High Spirits unfortunately did not pay the cake toll. Didn't have the luck I did, so I managed to get by. Alright, teammates.
Carant's going ahead and taking this blue dragon fight, and it didn't look like it had all that much in the tank, so... He is not going to be very far behind Life at...
No, he's not. He's about one dungeon behind, so it's going to be about a half of a dive, probably. A half of a deep dive.
Like I said, it's one of those things... he'll probably be about 5-6 minutes behind Life getting into Temple of Fiends Revisited. If even that much. Yeah, probably about that much. I can't see it being much more than 6 minutes behind. So I wouldn't even necessarily say a deep dive. A wipe to Kraken would probably put them on equal footing.
Now the only downside for Lifereboot here, it's a weird one because the grind that he did for as high as he went kind of hurts him more now that he's got the Masa, because the Masa's 5-hit breakpoint is level 24. So it's kind of a little bit awkward there, but now he's got the safety levels now, I guess you can call it.
Yeah, like, it's one of those things, there's a lot of things that Life will be able to survive that he couldn't before. It really just comes down to if Caront is good enough to get someone with Life 2 through anything that poses a threat to Lifereboot. Alright, so he is dumping all of his crappy swords, getting the not crappy sword, and let's see who he hangs it on. It is going to be... Oh, okay, no. He is going to hang that Maza on that red mage. Go ahead and distribute his harm a little bit.
Yeah. I like that play for his party also. Like I said, Xcale does an amazing job the first three fiends, as long as the teammate doesn't roll her usual high absorb. Xcale does really well too. It's just with that such low crit chance, it's really rough to actually cut through that armor.
Yeah, but against those airs, that Xcal is more than satisfactory.
Alright, for everybody out here, what's your watch right now for Lifereboot? Lifereboot, I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't do this. If you have that many houses, just don't. Just go in, and honestly, just go in. It's not worth the time to do this.
Yeah. I mean, that's just something you have to learn. Which is why you're telling him, obviously. But yeah. I mean, it's one of those things, yeah. I'm personally more of a fan of just, using magic to keep my HP up in Temple of Fiends, and the heals are basically the if I run out of spell charges or run out of people to cast spells with, then I start using those. Which is probably a really bad habit, actually, but it is one of those things like, yeah. It's also the main reason you don't necessarily want to stock up on real estate. Keep enough to let you do your manipulations, but not so many that you have to sit there and burn through 30 houses or cabins.
Well, bad men being bad men, but not hitting very hard, which is actually kind of rare for them, but I have to admit, these runners have very good armor, very good equipment. Caront on the left-hand side, taking on Tia. Tiamat does a blaze earlier, doesn't do a whole lot, because, well, Caront's got 2 ribbons. What a cheater.
Where was that second ribbon?
I think we should ask our handy-dandy tracker. That's right, Mirage won because Caront did that spicy check, remember?
Yeah.
Which has helped. I have to admit, I think Caront was able to make some time, but obviously some bad luck too forced them into it. But so that knight's level 23. One more level gets the 5th shot. That Masa's going to be, well, massive.
Yeah. I mean, right now he still has the Mazda strapped onto that red mage, but he'll presumably swap over to it for Chaos if nothing else. So he'll have those 10 Mazda swings against Chaos.
So, I mean, that's one thing also I should specify is when Caront gets into, like, Carry 2 and Kraken, once that knight hits level 24, Masa all the way. In this case, because of the breakpoint. Just because that extra hit could be massive. Okay, come out. Oh, Lifereboot. That's what I'm talking about. Won't look away. I hope you're okay.
You realize that I see it instantaneously, right? Like, by the time you said, won't look away, Lich was already dead.
I know, but that was the whole point. I was trying to look out for you. I was just a little slow, okay? I forgot that, you're watching it live right now.
Even if the gods forgive you, I never will. So, life through Earthfloor. We didn't really see anything that was a problem. Same goes for Firefloor, it looks like. A lot of people like to say Kraken 2 is the first potential gatekeeper, but I like to think of Carry 2 as really the first major gatekeeper. Because Carry 2 can sometimes go down real easy, but sometimes Carry 2 can just utterly obliterate you. And she's very swingy like that.
No, that's probably one of the more swingy types. Oh, actually, yeah, because when Carrie's bad, she's bad. But then when she's like average to not so great, it's a cakewalk like this.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the thing, is Carry 2 tends to go down fairly quickly just because she doesn't have a very strong HP base. It's just like sometimes she just decides to delete your main melee and then suddenly you're scrambling, and then it turns out she also had nuclear, which you wouldn't have seen if your melee hadn't died in the first round.
Sacrificing the Black Mage instead of the Ninja. Interesting play by Lifereboot.
Well, the Black Mage, doesn't really have a lot of levels. Spell shots, like, it's basically just a machine that casts fast, and then gets brutally beaten to death by Kraken.
So Fog 2, white shirt. Interesting, I kind of like that with the defense. So that knight's pretty much safe at this point. we can definitely get this knight up and running now at this point. Oh, there's a nuke. That's not good.
Unless Kraken nukes the party, in which case suddenly this is a problem.
That's a high roll, but low HP. Kraken, see you later. Nice nuke. I'm going onto the air floor, so what made that dangerous is it was a 390 roll against the knight, which basically drained, you know, more than half of his HP. The red mage took a 300 roll, and the ninja took more than a 300 roll. That's not good.
Yeah, that's basically eating the rest of his heal supply. Fortunately, he's got those Life 2 spells to get the Black Mage back up and moving, but it is, it's one of those things where he has to hope that Tia doesn't really have anything, because at this point, his ability to repair this party is going to be severely curtailed.
Relying upon that Black Mage to cast the fast before going down. Black Mage, you have one job and one job only. White Shirt's going to come out, make us a little more evasive, and a defense sword, so that knight should be good. Tia hits with a noodle, a pool noodle, does no damage. It sounded better when I thought in my head. On the left-hand side, if Lifereboot goes down, Caront is going to be caught up, but Tiamat is just swinging, not causing any danger whatsoever. Will Tiamat bear its fangs?
Tia might have the punchy script today.
No.
And if Tia has the punchy script, then that's a problem with Chaos, because that means Chaos doesn't.
Yep, we didn't see Warmech. We don't know what's out there. We still have we have 2 nukes and 4 nuclears in the pool, along with a slow 2 cure 4. We have Zap out there, which could cause problems for Lifereboot. We only have 1 ribbon. We do have the wall spell. He makes sure to cast it. Will we get good turn order? No, wait. He's rethinking. Going to Fog 2. Oh, he's got 2 ribbons now? Okay. I didn't realize he checked Mirage also. Chaos.
Yeah, he did.
Chaos swings decent amount. 2 hits, 208, so not overly great. I think this is in the bag outside of something big here. Chaos really has to show something nasty.
I mean, he still has a very good chance of that, but he punches again. So, yeah, at this point, Chaos needs some kind of spell damage to pose a threat to Lifereboot. Because he ain't going to be able to hit anything in Life's party right now.
No, we're tempering up. That Masa swings 7 hits for 383 with a crit, so very armored Chaos.
Yeah, that was 10 hits for 135 on the ninja. Like, this is not going to be a very fast fight.
Left-hand side, Caront enters in. Temple of Fiends Revisited, trying to catch up. Lifereboot needs to wipe to give Caront a chance.
Yeah, he is going to just keep piling these tempers on, trying to get through Chaos's... Oh, hi, Bane!
Bane comes out, knocks out 3 of his temper casters. Oh boy, hold A and pray here, boys and girls.
Oh,
there
yeah.
It is.
Yeah, that was a narrow thing, and I think that was a 3 and 256 on one of those Banes. But Lifereboot has finished with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 4 minutes, and 55 seconds.
I mean, I have to admit, I think that Ninja's 666 shot was a precursor or a pre-warning of what that Bane was going to do to his party, but at the same time really helped him to deal with Chaos there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure who that ribbon was on, but that was not a very pleasant experience to witness someone going through.
So we're going to see if we can get Lifereboot in here. As Caront on the left-hand side has finally entered the Earth floor of Temple Fiends Revisited, find some bigger Medusas. If you haven't hit level 24, take this fight. It generally goes down in 1 Fire 3.
So, Life will be joining us shortly. I think he's kind of collect himself and then come on in.
Oh, for sure.
In the meantime, yeah, Caront, respecting Lich, actually casting fast, it looks like.
I mean, that was Invis 2, that was Fog 2 for a boss that's really not known for its melee attack.
Well, let's go ahead and drag Life in here while we're while Caront's taking care of Lich. Life, GG.
Hello, thank you.
So, trying to think of where to begin. So, which of your characters got 3 and 256 through a ribbon by Chaos?
Is that how that works? I guess my ninja had the ribbon at that point, and I did not cast Wall.
Wall wouldn't have helped. Yeah, either you have the resistance bit or you don't. And the ribbon went ahead and did that. No, you definitely got 3 and 256 there by that Bane. So, my sympathies.
My fighter pulled it through, so can't complain.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just trying to think of. Okay, actually, I do have a. Let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to think of good questions, but you kind of ran a pretty straightforward run.
Thank you very much.
All right, so with your grind, what was your main idea behind it? Because obviously you took the eye tile that was turned into the Whiz Vamps and
Zombie Ds.
Yeah, the Zombie Ds. Was there a goal in mind? Did you say I'm going to a certain level? You know, what was your idea behind it and why?
Well, I don't remember a decent grind tile, so I was thinking, man, I'm nearly in go mode. I don't know where I'm gonna grind up after this. And then right in front of Oxiale, which is go mode, I found a decent grind tile. So I was like, okay, I'll take this to 30, or I will wait until my thief dies, or I will wait until I'm out of heal potions, and then I'll skedaddle. So any of those conditions, and it ended up my thief dying, and with still needing to walk out of Ice Cave with no runner, I decided that was the time to leave.
Legit. So my question on that same vein is, why did you keep the defense on your knight?
I didn't even realize it. So if I hadn't found that mass immune, I would have gone in. I thought I was swinging the X-Cal all that time.
I suppose that's fair, since you did, since they have the same sprite, basically. Like, I think the X-Cal, the defense, and the Sun Sword all look almost exactly the same. So I can see how you...
Totally my bad. That was a mistake.
And Caront gets cracked, but fortunately he has that white wizard with plenty of Life 2 shots. So he probably needs to move that ribbon over to his knight and red mage at this point. So, let's see, I'm trying to think of other things you did with your routing that I found interesting. And it's really tricky. Okay, so that... Actually, pause. Dang, did we see the nuke on Kraken 2 before?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure because I couldn't remember.
That's the one that almost or all high rolled. Oh, a nuclear right after. So because Lifereboot was able to basically one shot it once he went on the offensive, was able to get through it.
Yeah, and Caront gets through with 69 HP. Nice.
And he didn't buy life 2. He forgot life
Oh
2.
no!
So we are going solo fighter strats. Equip that Masa on there. It's not going to be easy. Wait, no. He has the defense sword, right?
Yeah, he has the defense sword. He has Mazza.
Uh-oh, he's not equipping it. No. Uh-oh.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Excal still will hit like a truck against Tia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's hitting for... Never mind. Never mind. This is a high absorb Tia that we somehow didn't notice.
It's one hit of Masa that can crit.
Please tell me he at least moved the ribbon onto his fighter.
I mean, he should be getting close. If I remember correctly, this Tiamat... Oh! 7 damage over. Wipes him out.
And he forfeits, which I cannot blame him for.
Very unfortunate there, but nonetheless, very well done. Actually caught up a lot of time on your life reboots. That was a nice play to go into the Earth Cave when you did the Ruby and stuff like that, and end up having the Rod, which I think kind of gave you a big advantage, I think, in my opinion. What do you think, Wout?
Yeah, well, okay. So, I'm of two minds on that, because, by saving, that Rod check for fairly late, Caront was able to skip checking quite a few boxes, mostly, like, the bottom floor of Earth, which, didn't cost you that much time. Your big time save was Caront dove Marsh, where you didn't.
Yeah,
So-
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure how it was going to turn around and get out, and if it ended up being like the Thor hammer or something behind the vampire. I was debating. I didn't open up anything like super important on the way down there. If I was just going to reset out, but finding the rod, it's like, okay, so I'm going to commit to this, and felt like it might have been a close match. I was out of some spell charges by the time I got down to Lich, but was able to get out okay, so
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You made a lot of real calls, so it's hard to find things to really like, because you know what you did right, and the things you did wrong, by and large, just kind of mental errors that didn't really cost you long term. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything where you made an interesting choice.
Did Caront also do Peninsula of Power early?
Oh, I did forget you did Pop early. No, while you were grinding Pop, he was diving Marsh.
Yeah, oh, that's another thing. Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, we just brought that up there is, so your idea of doing the Peninsula of Power was grind, right? You wanted to gain levels, gain the level enough for level 3 and 4 magic. And then you probably wanted to go into Marsh, but then Marsh wasn't even required. So, like, I guess the levels were good, but it maybe felt awkward, if that makes sense.
It felt awkward because I had ice and not like a fire or nuke or fade, but I was really concerned about just some gold, because it felt like I wasn't sure I wasn't sure where I'd be going, and if I was going to dive Earth, I also wanted the levels, so I wasn't sure what was going to happen. When I found the crown, I think that's what you had to purchase. It was just expensive enough that I was able to sell something and just get above the amount to proceed. So I think the pop grind contributed to my bankroll, which let me get progress without needing to stop and farm anymore. So
Yeah, we wanted to criticize the selling the flame shield play, and then you went and found an ice shield immediately. Which I hope you realize Thundercloud will be insufferable because of that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Lifereboot. He, like, as soon as you sold it, he goes, oh yeah, he'll find another shield. And then literally like an extra floor later, or whatever it was, you found an ice shield, and he's like, see, told you. I'm like, shut up, Thundercloud, shut up.
Anyway, hi Caront, GG.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so
Hey,
just...
Caront.
Yeah, just to clarify, when you're on speed gaming, yeah, the bot invites you, but you're on Randomania this time, so you just have to you just come into our voice chat.
Okay,
little
that's fair.
backstage pass for everyone watching.
Right. Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I like how you went this time through. You didn't forget any incentive locations.
Yeah, that was a bonus.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's one of those things, really what cost you most of your time was that early marsh dive and just banging your head against the scums.
Yeah, I figured as much. I mean, when I saw the dot done come in and I was in Topher, that was my first thought was, quit being stubborn, Eric, and you'll win something.
I mean, sometimes stubbornness works out. That black shirt definitely helped you out in a few spots.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just trying to think. No, I mean, besides that, you generally, you made some bold plays, and if nothing else, you did a fantastic job of picking up levels, without really stopping anywhere.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, at the end of that life, you were what, level 27, 28 on your party members who weren't wearing blue?
Correct.
Yeah, so Caront, you were sitting in the 23s and 24s on your party. So,
right.
But life actually stopped to grind on that Wiz Vampire Zombie D fight in Ice Cave.
Yeah.
Whereas you found fights that would get you the experience you needed, and were able to pretty much keep pace with him on that front. So, that's definitely something you did right.
Yeah. Well, essentially what I was thinking on that front was that of course, I didn't see the 3 or any sort of eye tile, so that's the obvious go-to grind-wise. And outside of that, I figured it probably would be better if I just did it incrementally, since there wasn't anything that immediately stood out, at least that I could handle at the time.
Legit. Yeah. Yeah, Dang and I talked about this, and you'll hear us refer to it several times if you go back and watch the VOD, but the way the seed played out, neither one of you really had a strong advantage with your parties. The only difference is Caront took a white mage, where Life, you took a ninja / thief. So it kind of balanced itself out in a lot of ways, because, while you had that extra melee and that run chance, Caront had just an endless flow of fades.
Understood. Yeah, the party setup that I was debating between was Caront's party and my party. It's just, you don't always have access to exit, and that would be really helpful if you got it early for Earth Dive, especially to get that vampire chest. But I value the extra melee. I also value the early run. If you have to dive marsh without 4 per exit, I like having a thief. So that's the party I decided to go with. I found both katanas. Turned out that I didn't need to double back for the one I found in Keylocked Temple of Fiends. But yeah, the other party I would have considered was bringing a white mage, fight a rainbow.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, like, you you both had advantages over the other, but neither of you was really at a disadvantage, which is always really nice to see in a seed like this, where party comp isn't what decides it. But yeah. Caront, one thing that, again, if you watch the VOD, you'll see it mentioned a couple of times, but just so, I make sure that you hear it. Mage Staff is better than Light Axe against Undead.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess if push comes to shove, use both. But
yeah, the ideal is you place the mage, the Light Axe on someone else, or you place the two weapons on two different characters.
Okay.
Because Fire 2 gets bonus damage against Undead.
Okay. I'll admit the reason I made that mistake was because I don't quite remember, and of course this will obviously help, but I don't quite remember the difference between mage and wizard staff. So I think had I realized, or I guess I thought that mage was the confuse and wizard was the one that did the magic attack. So that's why I placed it as I did.
Yeah. So mage staff is Fire 2, and because hitting elemental weaknesses does bonus damage in Final Fantasy 1. I mean, that is the beginning and the end of that thought.
Yeah.
It's just you will always do more damage with Fire 2 than Harm 2. So, if you have a character swinging that Light Axe, then just throw the Mage Staff on someone else. But all things being equal, yeah, just you want to make sure that two different party members have the Light Axe and the Mage Staff, just to maximize your damage against Undead. That's really the only thing I noticed in your play this week, where you were making a clear that's not as effective as you could be, because especially with as rude as the mummies were, being able to just wipe them out with Fire 2 would have probably saved you some healing time, if nothing else.
Yeah. I guess my overall take on everything is, yeah, I'm 0-2 now, which is unfortunate, but considering I have upgraded from making major mistakes to making minor mistakes, I'll take that.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things like, your overworld navigation obviously still needs work, but honestly, everyone's overworld navigation still needs work unless their name's Crabcakes or Thunderclawed or Burt Reynolds or, one of our other well-known high-level players.
Yeah.
If you're not in that tier, your overworld navigation always needs work. And all things considered, you still generally, didn't make too many, massive mistakes. I know I've occasionally been like, oh, it's faster to sail west around Melman to get to place. And it's just like, no, it isn't.
Yeah, I think my two biggest issues were the head bonk into marsh, and in terms of overworld was, I think, sailing east to get to Sky and going, hey, wait a minute, no, I can sail west and get there a lot faster. But yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's one of those things, and that is something you're going to see. Life picked up some time on you just by having cleaner overworld navigation, not going to marsh, being a little bit quicker in killing things. That is probably one other thing that I noticed, Caront. You definitely were a bit conservative with your spell charges, and that's just something you learn with experience in the randomizer, is just when it's okay to just go, you know what, I am just going to fling fire and fury at my enemies and not worry about if I'm going to run out.
That's a trait in how I play RPGs in general. I am heavily conservative with my items and my magic. Which, I've been ragged on that in the past, so it's just, I guess, another thing to work on.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those things. I'm the same way, and that is something. The more you play Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer, the quicker you get divorced of that habit. I'm just gonna let you both know that much. If there is any tendency to conserve things, Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer will eventually teach you, no, you leave it all on the table. Especially when you start playing like if you start playing clamped or higher scaling settings, that's really where you learn the value of, no, you skid out of that dungeon by the skin of your teeth and immediately drop a house. And that is how you will play this game from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's one of those things, like I said, a lot of the things that I noticed were things that, like, you know, you just have to kind of learn different habits.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, you both ran a very good race. Like, this was not a friendly seed, and you both finished, or, you know, obviously the unfortunate not having life 2 on the night definitely didn't help, but if you had had that, you would have easily finished with a, you know, probably about a 2:15 or so.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah, and that's why ultimately I decided, I mean, when I saw the dot done, you know, last week, I had blanked on ordeals and I still had 1 orb to light, so I knew that I had a while to finish at that point. But this time I decided, I mean, I was already in Topher, so I figured I would just give it my best shot, and if it didn't work out, then GG's.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's one of those things, like, at the end of the day, you're showing marked improvement. Life, you are definitely going to pose a threat in the 1-1 bracket.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've been in the community between like 4 and 6 months. I think I started racing in November, and it's only recently that I started remembering that you can go back as a knight and learn some of the white magic. So I was noticing the same thing that I guess, Caront, you had some level 2 charges, but you didn't remember that life 2 was in Corneria?
Yeah, I don't know, I mean, I don't know how, I guess nobody knows how they forget things, but I'm not sure how I blanked on that. I guess I was, in my last run back, I just went straight for Topher. And I think if circumstances had worked out a little bit differently, if I'd used more heal pots or any number of things, when I went in, I might have realized, oh, hey, wait a minute, I might as well stop for magic while I'm here. And
yeah. On that point, when you take notes, okay, first of all, do you take notes?
I don't. I am going to, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I came up with something in the resources and links channel, and I'm going to start using that as a little bit of a template. But no, I do not take notes as of yet.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not a big note taker myself, but the one thing when I am like trying to go fast that I do make note of is spells.
Yeah.
Because yeah, that clash change is the one place where it's like, oh, I need to go back and pick this up. And obviously the other time is when it's like, oh, I want this, but it is too expensive for the money I presently have, so I will have to come back for it later.
Right.
In
other words, anything involving shopping.
Yeah, no, that's the one thing where, like, even once you get really comfortable with, like, you know, keeping track of your incentive items, keeping track of... Oh, that is actually something I was going to ask about Caront. And Life, actually. So, you both very obviously worked out when you were, in a good position to just start skipping chests. So I guess my question is, once you hit that key item go mode, once you had everything you needed to clear the game, what more did you feel like you needed to actually go to Temple of Fiends, clear out the Fiends, get to Temple of Fiends Revisited, yada yada yada? Basically, when did you feel like you were in, like, gear and level go mode, as opposed to key item go mode?
I guess I'll start. I had prioritized going to like the high density chest areas. I peeked in Volcano Armory. On my way there, I saw the Opal Shield, and when I reset out of that because nothing was decent in the armory, on my way back in to kill Carrie, I stopped and picked that up, and then found an Aegis or whatever also on the way. Just I feel like I could have been okay with just the X-Cal and the levels that I had, because I had access to fast on 2 mages and temper on 2 mages, with a defense sword that felt like it was plenty, and 2 ribbons. Let's go. That felt very safe to me. But I'm a very like chest on the way kind of guy. So in C, in the Sharknado room, I think it's called, I was able to find a free gold bracelet, which was an upgrade, and then on the way to Tiamat, I found the Masamute. Just again, it pays off to check some of those chests on the way.
Yeah. And Caront, what about you? Like, where did you kind of feel like your comfort level was for Topher in terms of gear and levels?
Well, I was going to say, in terms of the items and chesting, or chest checking rather, excuse me, but I was pretty much on the same level as Life. I just was going to grab stuff on the way. As far as levels, when I went into Topher at 20, 23, 24, I knew I was taking a little bit of a risk, but I had my orbs, and the game wasn't over yet at that point. So I decided I was going to give it a good roll at those levels and see if I could pull it off. The only thing that had me really worried, and I waited too long to act on this too, was to move my red mage down in the hit order, because I didn't realize his defense was worse than both of the other mages at that point. But obviously it was still a bit of a hindrance. So, but levels wise, I knew I was taking a risk going in at 23, 24, but I wanted to see with Masamune, with X-Cal, and with Fast and Temper, I wanted to see if I could sort of slog my way through it, and I almost did.
Yeah, honestly, I would say 23 and 24, that's a good cozy point. Like, Dang pointed out, with the Maza, 24 is where you get your 5th hit on the night.
Okay.
So you were in a really strong position to finish that out. Again, Lynn, knowing what we know from Caront's run, the Maza would have done work against Chaos. So you, again, if you had that Life 2 spell, you easily could have finished that seed out about the 2-hour, 15-minute mark, just with what you had. So I don't think that you necessarily did go in under level for what Temple of Fiends had in store. Well, but
I admit I was a little surprised when Carrie decided to drive a Mack truck into my party. That was a little rough.
Yeah, and Caront did not get to see that Kraken had nuke and nuclear. Or Life didn't. Caront did get to see that.
Yes, I did, and I will say I will have to erect a statue in his honor because, well, yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I think we probably need to give Randomania back their channel at some point and let Dangwoo get off of the restream wagon. So, I guess, do y'all have anything else to add?
Just thanks very much for being accommodating of my schedule, Caront. Best of luck to you in the next week, and good game.
Yeah, GG, congratulations. Thank you all to everybody who does all the tech stuff. I mean, I know we say it a fair bit, and we mean it every time we say it, and we should, is thank you all, because to put together a tournament like this, with a field like this, with the relative smoothness that it's had so far, says a lot.
Yeah, no, everyone involved in this process has been doing fantastically. And it really is a pleasure to, show off all of the players that we have, because, y'all all are able to perform very well in a game that is not easy. And, even when you make mistakes, Final Fantasy I is a very unforgiving game. It can kill you at any time. Even Lich 2 can kill you at any time. Not that I'm bitter. But, yeah. Now, so, Dang, I spit and curse your name, but why don't you go ahead and take us home?
I was about to cast cake up on this broadcast. No. Well, once again, thank you very much for doing broadcast with me. Caront, Lifereboot, GG to both of you. I threw the kitchen sink at you. You managed to get through it, so nice job on both of you. I hope you look back and, I hope to see more of you too, because I think I see some really good things coming from you all. For everybody that's still here, over on RPG Limit Break, we have a race between Ale and Lord of the Synth. We have Q Kitsuki versus Kaosubalu going on. Also, I believe that's over on Speed Gaming. We got more Spring Tournament 2020 going on, so make sure to check them out. Our YouTube has just been updated with a bunch of Randomania stuff, so I just uploaded them while Wout was constantly talking, and I lost track of time myself, so Wout, you got lucky.
Yeah, my apologies there, but what are you going to do?
I got sidetracked. It was fine. I was having fun on YouTube, but thanks, everybody. See you tomorrow for more Final Fantasy Randomizer. Dang Woo, that's me. I'm out of here. The Woat himself, the Woat Boat, the man, the myth, the legend. Thank you once again.
And Avos Ruin, our tracker. Don't forget him.
Avos Ruin, you know what? He did a great job. I think he might be able to take on Danny here shortly. Not quite as been demanding, so I've been going on for way too long because I wanted to make up for Woat. So thank you all once again. Have a great night.